Chavirim, you may be seated. Like many of you, I've watched with dismay as a religious group has foisted its definitions on a society through coercion and threat, fear of punishment or reprisal. A whole segment of society is now transformed. Places that were previously open and safe are closed. And I wish I was talking about Afghanistan. But I'm talking about what's going on right here in our own country. Some of you may not like the language I'm about to use, but the comparison is eerily frightening. The Taliban of Texas are doing to us what the Taliban in Afghanistan are doing to their own population. They are imposing their own narrow religious definition of life, and in the process violating our own First Amendment protections. Judaism has a different understanding of when life begins, and it is not at conception. But now, the legislature in Texas has violated our own ability to believe and practice according to our faith and our tradition. And what was done there is now eagerly anticipated as a model in Florida, in Dakota, and in other red states. And I'm not sure that we can rely on what is supposed to be the bulwark and protection against the violation of our rights in the court. We are at a crossroads. Make no mistake about that whatsoever. Our ability to practice as we choose, to believe as we choose, or even for those in our society who choose not to believe, is endangered. We cannot allow our country to be hijacked by a religious population and minority that will seek through coercion and threat, through laws that are draconian and unfair, to impose on all of us what it can't convince any of us of. Chavirim, my own encounter with women struggling with the question of abortion has been as confidant and counselor, a shoulder for them and a place of safety through which they can find what our tradition has to say and help guide them through one of the most wrenching and difficult decisions I've ever seen people have to make. And now, if I even have the temerity or the chutzpah to offer that shoulder of kindness and that open door of discussion and conversation that leads to a difficult decision, some yahoo in Texas can sue me. It is an attempt at coercing my unwillingness and my ability to be a voice and a support to someone in crisis. How outrageous a law can be allowed to stand when the brother of a rapist could sue me and the woman that was raped and pocket $10,000. They have always said truth is stranger than fiction, because if you saw this in a movie, you'd say, Narishkeit. If you saw it on TV, you'd say, oh, shtus, it's impossible. But the impossible is becoming real. And so, Chavirim, in the midst of all the other tsuras we have to worry about as we start a new year, we now have to defend our very religious freedom. The freedom to practice as Jews, to be guided by our tradition in the most difficult of choices and decisions. Governor Abbott, for weeks, has railed about mask wearing as a matter of personal choice. And in what is one of the most difficult personal choices that a person will ever confront, he removes their ability to choose. It is unconscionable, and it is unacceptable, and it threatens the religious freedom of every Jew and everyone who disagrees with that definition that's being imposed. And so, Chavirim, I urge and encourage you to speak out, to support those organizations and those institutions within the Jewish world and beyond that fight to protect our abilities to be free to practice and be governed by the dictates of our tradition and be guided in life's most difficult moments by the sacred traditions which have sustained us for 3,000 years. Amen. Chavirim, we return in our